She thought her health was gone for good until a 5-minute recipe changed everything. For years, Helen followed every rule. Low-fat this, sugar-free that. But somehow, her cholesterol stayed high, her joints ached, and the number on the scale refused to move. How did she end up feeling older than really am? The truth? Like millions of us, she was doing everything right, but missing one powerful secret. Not a supplement, not a cleanse, just a small, forgotten ritual that once kept people healthy for generations, and it takes only 5 minutes. What if the food that could heal your body wasn't in a fancy package or a doctor's plan, but already waiting in your kitchen? Today, we'll step into Helen's kitchen to see how one simple bake, born in the Mediterranean and backed by science, helped her reclaim her energy, her confidence, and her joy. This isn't just a recipe. It's a reminder that healing doesn't always come from what's new. Sometimes it comes from remembering what we've forgotten. For years, Helen believed she was eating healthy enough. Whole grain cereal for breakfast, a low-fat sandwich for lunch, and dinner? Something quick. Frozen, microwavable, done in 5 minutes. It all sounded good until the numbers told another story. Your cholesterol's still high, Helen. Blood pressure, too. Are you keeping up with your meals? I am. I eat the way the labels say I should. And that's the hidden cost of convenience, the quiet trade we make when food becomes faster, easier, but emptier. The truth? Most healthy packaged meals are still loaded with hidden salt, refined oils, and preservatives our bodies were never meant to digest. According to the American Heart Association, more than 70% of adults over 50 consume twice the recommended sodium each day. Even small daily excesses can increase heart disease risk by nearly 30%. I can't even pronounce half of these. And maybe that's the sign we've forgotten what food is supposed to be. Not chemistry, but nourishment. Somewhere along the way, easy became the enemy of alive. So she decided to start small, not with a diet, not with restriction, but with a promise. To eat something her grandmother would recognize as real food. Sometimes healing begins not with adding more, but taking away what no longer serves us. And that's when she remembered something. A dish she once tasted in a small village by the sea. A dish made from the simplest things that made her feel more alive than she had in years. What if the answer isn't new, but something ancient we've simply forgotten? That morning, as Helen watched the sunlight dance across her kitchen floor, a memory came back to her. Something she hadn't thought about in years. A trip she took long ago to a small seaside town in southern Italy. She was younger then, full of energy, wandering through local markets that smelled of basil and sea salt. One afternoon, an elderly woman invited her into a tiny stone kitchen. No fancy tools, no cookbook, just baskets of vegetables, olive oil, and a few eggs gathered that morning. "You Americans, you count calories. We count colors." The woman showed her how to make a simple vegetable bake, what locals called frittata verde. Just leeks, carrots, spinach, potatoes, eggs, and a drizzle of olive oil. "For the heart," she said, "for strength." At the time, Helen didn't think much of it, but years later she remembered how she felt after that meal, light, full, and alive. No heaviness, no sugar crash, just warmth spreading from the inside out. In the Mediterranean, food isn't medicine, it's connection. It's laughter, movement, sunlight, and simplicity, all woven into the rhythm of daily life. Studies now show what those villagers always knew. The Mediterranean diet, rich in vegetables, olive oil, and whole foods, can reduce heart disease by up to 30%, lower inflammation, and even improve memory as we age. Maybe the secret isn't in doing more, but doing less. Less packaging, less sugar, less confusion, more of what's real. Sometimes healing begins not in the doctor's office, but in the quiet act of cooking something honest. And so, with nothing but a few vegetables and a memory from long ago, Helen began again.
one small step toward the life she thought she'd lost.
It started with a single morning. No plan, no challenge, no grand promise, just Helen and a quiet decision to begin again. She used to believe health was complicated, something locked behind medical terms and expensive treatments. But here, standing in her kitchen, she realized maybe healing is simply remembering what's real. Olive oil, liquid sunlight, rich in antioxidants that soothe inflammation and protect the heart. The same oil her friend in Italy once called the blood of the earth. Every color on her plate carried a message: green for strength, orange for renewal, gold for warmth. Nature's code, written long before nutrition labels existed. It wasn't about dieting anymore. It was about presence, tasting, smelling, being. The power in small things. One pan, one breath, one quiet moment of care. Modern science is finally catching up to what our ancestors knew by instinct, that stress ages the body faster than time itself, that slowing down, even for 5 minutes a day, can lower blood pressure, balance hormones, and steady the heart. For the first time in years, Helen didn't count calories or carbs. She counted moments, each one filled with gratitude. The world outside could wait. Healing, she realized, begins the moment we stop rushing. Each small act, a meal, a walk, a breath, was rebuilding something deeper than muscle or energy. It was rebuilding trust between her and her own body. We spend so much of our lives searching for miracles, but maybe the real miracle is how much good one small change can do when done with love and done consistently. Helen didn't just cook a meal that morning. She reclaimed something she'd almost forgotten: the simple, quiet power of being alive. It wasn't magic. It was communication. Her body, once tired, heavy, and restless, had been whispering all along. But like so many of us, Helen had forgotten how to listen. Every heartbeat, every sigh, every craving was a message, a signal from the body's ancient intelligence. A system designed not just to survive, but to heal. Science now calls it the gut-brain connection. Millions of nerve endings in our stomachs sending signals to our minds, shaping mood, energy, even memory. The foods Helen was now eating, olive oil, greens, fermented yogurt, weren't just nourishing her body. They were teaching her microbiome to calm inflammation, to repair, to speak clearly again. It's almost poetic. The same way nature restores balance in a forest after a storm, our bodies do the same, if we give them the right conditions. She began to notice how her senses sharpened. Food tasted richer, her sleep came easier, her mood lighter. The fog she once blamed on age was fading, replaced by quiet clarity. For the first time, Helen felt connected not just to her body, but to something larger: the rhythm of the earth, the pulse of sunlight, the conversation between breath and breeze. Years of hurry had silenced that conversation. Processed food, constant stress, late nights, each one like static, drowning out the body's voice. Now, that voice was clear again, and it didn't ask for perfection, just attention. When we rest, the body repairs. When we breathe deeply, cells receive more oxygen. When we eat real food, our chemistry changes. Serotonin rises, inflammation falls. Every small act of care is a signal. You are safe. You can heal now. Helen realized the body wasn't her enemy. It was her oldest friend, patient, forgiving, and waiting for her to listen. And once she began listening, healing stopped being something she chased and became something she allowed. It began with a memory, a taste from long ago, her grandmother's morning tonic, made from things so simple they'd almost been forgotten: water, lemon, honey, a slice of ginger. Nature's quiet medicine passed from one generation to the next. No superfoods, no powders, no promises on a label. Just the kind of wisdom that once lived in every kitchen. The kind that asks for presence, not perfection. Modern science calls it an elixir. Ginger to calm inflammation, lemon to support the liver and brighten digestion. Honey to soothe the throat, balance immunity, and feed the good bacteria in the gut. 3 ingredients and an orchestra of healing within them. The first taste was like meeting herself again, gentle, alive, unhurried. Day by day, her body changed, not in a rush, but in rhythm. Her skin glowed, her sleep deepened. The weight she carried, both physical and emotional, began to lift. She wasn't chasing youth anymore. She was cultivating vitality. Healing, she realized, was never meant to be a lonely path. It grows stronger when shared, one story, one cup, one act of kindness at a time. We spend years searching for something extraordinary, only to discover that the extraordinary has been waiting in the ordinary all along. So here's to slowing down, to simple meals, to small rituals that remind us we're alive. Because sometimes the most powerful medicine isn't found in a bottle, but in the quiet beauty of a life cared for, one mindful sip at a time. The recipe that changed everything, nature's gentle elixir. May your healing begin with something simple.
Healing doesn't end when the pain fades. It begins when we learn to live differently. When we choose balance over hurry and gratitude over control. Helen once searched for the perfect diet, the perfect plan, the perfect fix. But nature had always offered something far greater. Rhythm, the rise and fall of seasons, the patience of growth, the quiet strength in stillness. The truth is, the body doesn't need to be forced into healing. It only needs to be invited. With rest, with real food, with a heart that knows how to slow down. Her story isn't about perfection. It's about permission. Permission to begin again, to listen, to nourish, to trust that nature knows the way. Maybe the secret to longevity isn't found in something new, but in remembering what we've forgotten. Real food, real rest, real connection. Our bodies are not broken. They are gardens, waiting to be tended with patience and kindness. And when we live in harmony with nature, healing stops being something we chase and becomes something we simply are. Begin your own gentle journey. Listen, nourish, heal. If Helen's story spoke to you, if it reminded you of something your heart already knows, share it, subscribe, and take the first small step toward your own quiet transformation. Because sometimes the smallest step changes everything.